one of the things that made this year's New York Comic Con a thumbs up. But
That's
now I'm
what's
going to
up,
kick it
man.
over to Just Johnny.
I
Yep.
can't wait for you to tell me what the deal is, Johnny.
Yes,
I'm just to the
sir.
point where I'm speaking really slow
Yep.
because I can't wait.
There's
So,
a.
let me just stop.
He's trying not to drool on himself, yo.
Oh, speaking of waiting, this is like a big giant movie review for a very big giant movie because
Yes,
it's
it is.
almost 3 hours long.
Yeah, dude,
Hold on, you're
the
talking
runtime-
Titanic long?
We're talking Titanic long, man.
Oh.
You're in for the long haul. So I prepared before watching it. So
He drank so much water.
talking about Blade Runner 2049.
Yeah.
I watched it earlier today. And before I even went to the theater, I knew it was a long movie, so I ate beforehand, and I went to Starbucks, got myself a coffee, and I went in the theater, had the coffee right in front of me. I did not leave that seat until I did not go for a pee break at all. I was there for the full 3 hour
wired
sit.
down his leg to a bottle tied around his ankle.
That is dedication. I'd have
was
been like, I've just had to skip out this whole middle section of my review. I got to go.
I knew what I was in for. I knew what I was in for.
So Blade Runner 2049. You're talking about this is the follow up to the original Blade Runner
This
movie.
is the never expected follow up to a cult classic film. So the original Blade Runner was not successful. It was actually kind of a little bit confusing to watch. It's one of those movies that you definitely have to watch multiple times. And the definitive version didn't even come out until like DVD, early days of DVD, where the director's cut was
which is even
de facto
longer.
standard and longer. Yeah.
I legit read the book in order for me to at least remotely understand. What
Well, that's the
about.
thing. The book, I've read the book. I love the book.
Me
The
too.
book is very different from the movie. Why is it so different though? The book was dope, and the book is like wall to wall ass whoopings, and this dude, like Decker, was gangster.
Yep.
And then in the movie, well, I think he might be a replicant. I'm gonna. Oh no, he ambushed me by this truck, and I'm getting slapped. Oh no, okay. Well, I got lucked out, and someone saved my ass, so I'm gonna really talk. Oh yeah.
So-
sorry, Chief. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry. This is a folded paper animal. That's beautiful.
The Blade Runner movies are not they're not action flicks. These are definitely not action flicks. They're almost like they're philosophical movies, kind of like Alien, not Covenant. What was the one before that? Prometheus.
Oh,
yes.
yeah,
Kind of like
yeah,
Prometheus. How
gotcha.
Prometheus was very
Garbage. Yes, I know.
It was
No,
not
not
garbage.
Prometheus
It was a
was
really
hot
good movie.
It was a good movie.
It was
Stop
really
hating.
good.
Prometheus
Really good.
was farm fresh garbage.
No, it was a
juice.
good movie that made you
Fresh
really
squeeze.
contemplate and think about
All right.
life.
Yes,
Ass
it was the thinkers.
Water.
Alien.
Ass water.
It was like an alien light.
That's right. Tell him, Johnny.
No,
Drop
no,
it.
Well,
You know
people
how- you
want
know how-
too much Alien. They want a lot of it because it was the big return of Alien. And it didn't. All right, we're
Okay,
not talking about
how you
Prometheus.
sluice that goo out of a dumpster after it's rained through the garbage. That was Prometheus.
So
Continue, sir.
Blade Runner 2049. It's I don't even know when the original one launched, but this is like
1982.
what 30 years later, right?
Oh yes, I did get
82.
checked out. This takes place.
Over that.
This takes place 30 years after the first Blade Runner movie,
Yep.
which takes place in 2019.
Yeah.
Yes.
Just a couple years from now. So Herb, get ready.
So 30 years after the events of I kind of want to steer clear of spoilers here, but you kind of do need to watch the first Blade Runner movie in order to fully understand the things that are going on in this movie. Now,
Well, I thought that was a failing because this is an intricate story, but it's also reliant on stuff that took place a long time ago.
it is.
So
Yes.
most of the generations that are really into this stuff now would go in and be lost to like half of the plot of this movie.
The potential they do bring up the past, and they do sort of go over it. So you can understand it, you can follow it without watching the first one, but you have to be very alert, and you have to pay attention, and you have to go and get a coffee and strap in and keep your eyes peeled, because there's a lot of information that's going to go, and none of it is irrelevant. All of it is going to be used, and they actually they do this multiple times throughout this film, where they'll hint or sort of make almost like a glancing comment about something, and then they bring it up again later on into more depth, and they show the significance of what they just casually mentioned earlier in the film, and they do that a bunch of times within this movie, and they do it. I believe they do it in a very awesome, interesting way, and throughout the movie, you're following this main character who is a Blade Runner, just like the first movie.
K.
K.
K. Yeah.
Yeah,
K played
with a
by,
bunch of numbers.
Well, yeah, Agent K,
Agent K.
blah, 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 played by Ryan Gosling.
Played by Ryan Gosling, and he's going through, and just like the first movie, what did I miss?
I don't know. Jay just cracked up for no reason.
Oh, okay. Just like the first movie.
It out. he's like.
No, I'm Herb. I think Herb said he was hot. That's why I just laughed.
What? Wow. Okay. All right.
He said awful. Okay.
Learning more about DJ Herbert Herb today.
So they go through right from the beginning. They sort of introduce this notion of replicants, who they are. And this is right off rip. You know that Ryan Gosling, unlike the first movie, he is a replicant, but he's a new model. He's different. He's way more obedient than what you saw in the original movie, and he's way more understanding. But they still show you what the older models were like on the original movie, because in the very beginning minutes of the movie, he's confronting an old model replicant. So you immediately start to understand these elements, and this is kind of why you don't need to watch the old movie.
Well, I'm going to disagree with you, but I do like that point though, because in the first movie it was very much like replicants. Who are they? Where can they be? Is Decker a replicant? Even we don't know. We have no idea. And the whole society situated around these secret replicants that were just kind of like seated amongst the people that remained on Earth. And this movie does away with all that. Where in the future we know these are replicants. Almost everybody's a replicant, because all the humans with any amount of money have left the planet. And it's actually explained in a series of shorts why all the humans are gone and the replicants are in the situation they're in right now. You can watch them free online. It's actually kind of cool. But I like that they're not doing the whole is a human versus the replicant thing. Is it like a man versus machine type of set? It's like nothing like that. And that they acknowledge the different generations of replicants, because realistically, this is years later. There's no reason for there to only be one type of replicant.
Yep. And the one type of model, and certainly they even identified like they gave weight to the situations that happened in the original. Major catastrophic things happen. They mention it right in this movie.
Yep, they show it in the shorts. That's one of the benefits.
Okay. I need to watch those shorts.
They're free online.
I should definitely check that out. But so they mention major things that happen in the world in the years prior, and then they show it, right? The character travels to many different locations, many different vistas, and these vistas are gorgeous. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. We're talking
they're very pretty.
Very pretty.
And nothing else. They're remote, they're vast, there's no music to
emphasize.
There's no
immersion, so much immersion. It was kind of like it was the caliber of Mad Max style visuals, that caliber of very interesting, very fantastic looking, but without the action.
Without the drama, without the audio, without the interests, without the care for the audience, without the interesting storytelling.
By audio, you mean it didn't have a kickin' soundtrack. It had a very major lack of music, a backing soundtrack.
We were talking about this before the show. That was actually one of my complaints, the lack of anything but ambient audio. And by ambient audio, I mean the one trumpet blasting for like a minute nonstop, and then emptiness. And so many scenes where it's just dialogue and silence, or silence and silence.
Yeah, there is electronic music, a very sort of bass heavy, gritty, sort of suiting the setting and suiting the world itself. There is some of it here and there, but most of it is, as you said, bass heavy, almost disturbing bassy sounds that are meant to be there for atmosphere and immersion than it is to
they're meant to be there for annoyance and pretension, and not really for I'm sorry, man. It's true. I had
Uh,
such a big problem with the first hour of this movie. It got really good and won me over, but the first hour is tough.
When you
Like,
said the first hour.
yeah, no,
Oh.
it's not a short stint. Like
yeah, yeah.
I was seriously wondering, like, this was my problem with the first Blade Runner 2, which is just an issue in general with the type of sci-fi I like versus the type of sci-fi Johnny likes. What resonates with us, me, it's more action oriented. With you, it's more, I guess, story heavy.
Hold on, hold on. You are a Star Trek fan.
Of course.
This should be right in line with you, man.
No
That stuff
way,
is boring.
man. No.
Ah,
What?
That's right.
How
That's right.
dare you?
There you go.
No, what?
Mm,
Where,
right.
where do you get out?
That's
Yo,
right.
okay, this has been the Geek Down. I want to thank you all for joining us with the last appearances. How dare you, man? Nah, Star Trek is dope. And if you're talking about the original series, yeah, those
what I'm
episodes,
talking about.
those kind of dragged down a bit. I can see that, but they still had things like William Shatner, was corny for a reason. Spock was like, oh, this dude's extra rigid and stuff for a reason. And I also noticed going back and watching those, Bones was kind of racist. Like they just that went over my head as a kid. But yeah, this dude, like every episode, he throws in a random like comment, like, did he just say that? And then he changed the scene real quick. Okay, but this movie wasn't really as action oriented as I was ready for, as I was expecting.
Mhm.
And I mean, not that the first movie was, but the book definitely was. The book definitely had solid action scenes, and it was very different from the original movie that was presented by Ridley Scott back in '82.
Mhm.
And this movie, 2049 now, took that, really took from that, like took that, damn it, grabbed that baton and ran with it.
Yep.
This
Is there
more,
a book that follows this newer storyline?
No, this
Okay.
is brand new and original.
So this is an expansion on the universe, an expansion on the story, and yeah,
It's the utmost level of fan fiction.
yeah. And you definitely get the most out of this movie by watching the first one
Mhm.
because you're definitely going to know the significance of a lot of things that happen, the things that they mentioned earlier on that happen in this world. You're going to understand the world better. You're going to understand the prior events better. You're just going to understand everything better. So it is a sequel that you do need to watch the before ones on, but in today's day, I mean, we have Avengers 1, 2, 3, and in order to fully understand those, you have to watch the Iron Mans and the Spider
Each
Mans.
individual movie. So
Yeah,
it's not that out of the ordinary for audiences now.
Yep.
Yeah.
But it's still kind of a big ask when you consider that they're gonna sit through a 30-year-old movie, not like something that came. Yeah,
A
dude.
30-year-old movie
mean-
that stands the test of time.
No, it does not.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying.
No,
I'm
it
like,
does not.
I don't-
The effects do. The story does not. And to refresh myself, I went back and watched the original Blade Runner before checking out 2049, and story-wise, like it is tough.
It's a
the
different.
the effects
Yeah.
are above, but the effects can stand like toe to toe with this one, and both are extremely beautiful. I will definitely give them that. But the story back then was even slower, and that movie's shorter than this. The story
Yeah.
back then was even slower than this new one.
Yep.
And
It is-
I think that's something audiences should definitely be prepared for before they go in.
I mean, I don't think it's
yeah.
a big ask. I hear what you're saying. I don't think it's a big ask. I mean, if you care about the material you're ingesting with your eyes and your ears,
But okay,
it's not a big ask. Like, it's not a big ask to tell somebody you might want to watch the first Blade Runner in order for you to catch a second Blade Runner. Exactly for the reason what you said, Jardy. It's a movie that stayed the test of time. I hear what you're saying about the nuances, but if you care about it, man, put in the work and go watch it.
Yeah.
Like, just watch the first one, then go see the second one. Be forewarned that it's 3 hours. You're gonna give it 3 hours. If you don't like it, you don't like it.
So
But I just feel that it's like, I think we're in a situation where we're demanding more from our prequels and our sequels and movies that reach back to our nostalgia. We're demanding more. We don't want to be watered down, but at the same time, we want it to be accessible to everybody. Anybody who's not willing to give anything. I feel that some of these movies you have to give something. So for me, if I have to give up 2 hours or some change, or for me to watch the first Blade Runner, or for me to be able to greatly appreciate 2049, then I should do it. It's not a big ask.
Yeah,
Can
and
you
it does
devote
do that. It does have a better, more interesting, and more convoluted and nuanced story there for you because it is leveraging the old material. So there's way more substance there to dig into and bite into and to sort of wrap your head around. Now, this is not a passive movie You have to be very active while watching this movie because there is a lot of things going on when there is not much. there are scenes that have a lot of things going on, and then there are scenes as Pat identified.
Not a goddamn thing.
Not much going on. Yeah, not much.
Yeah. Like if you don't see the original, there are some scenes that are going to completely flabbergast you. This is true, and those are the scenes I do notice. Those are the scenes where it really seems like they were probably pandering to the hardcore fans. That really slowed down the flow of it. That really were tough to get through. Like there's one character you meet, and he does progress the story, but they don't really introduce him. He's just kind of like there, and he was not a major, but a big character, a significant character in the 1982 Blade Runner. If you haven't seen that, you have no idea why they just randomly go to this one dude, and then he's got information, and then they're out. Like, you know, if you do know who he is, there's a couple Easter eggs they throw in where it's like, oh yeah, and he's yeah. But if you don't, yeah, it's just some random, you know, seriously, it's like it's not even like Mr. Universe where he became vital to the sun. No, he just had some information. They barely introduce him. They just go, he's there. They did that a few times, and a few things really really spoon fed the fan service to audiences. So if anyone wasn't a hardcore fan, even if you've seen the originals but you weren't that into them, some scenes that are some poignant scenes will just be completely lost on you, and it might make the story a little less coherent. Am I right?
Yeah, you are right. And some of these scenes where there's nothing really going on, and it's just sort of camera showing big landscapes and big environments that look beautiful. A lot of that also does tell story without actually telling story. It's sort of showing the story. So in that particular area, I think you're talking about, it's, you know, you see just a set of landscape that just gives you tons of questions because if you're familiar with, you know, our world and how it operates, there used to be a city there, and now there is no city there. And
why the hell everything all vacant? Why the hell's the snow gray? Why the hell that 40-foot tall purple woman naked?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
I was not complaining about that part though.
Yep.
Underground societies, like rebel uprisings that are like quiet revolutions. There was a lot of things that really, I mean, I'm talking a lot of mess about it, but what it comes down to is I am giving this a thumbs up. I did like this movie, and besides the really awkward performances of Jared Leto, who I'm not hating on, I really feel like he's trying to regain some karma from that messed up Joker performance in Suicide Squad. From that messed up Joker performance.
The Oscar winning Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Please continue.
Man.
They have an Oscar.
There's no
From
justice.
makeup.
They have an Oscar.
What
Makeup.
justice? But I really feel like he's trying to get back into the groove of, no, I'm a serious actor. Remember not Civil Lines, but what was it?
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, with Matthew McConaughey.
Well, he plays like
remember
he
why?
played
Dallas
like the
Buyers
patient.
Club?
Yes,
Yeah,
thank you.
that's what it is.
He's like, remember Dallas Buyers Club? I was in that. I was saying, me.
Oscar, because he got one for that.
Yes,
right?
he did.
Yeah.
Yep. So he's really trying to get out by really immersing himself in these roles, and there was all these BS stories about how he practiced being blind for a week. It's like, yeah, okay, cool, but you probably just closed your eyes and they made it a news story. You know? But it's like, besides that, the movie was beautiful.
Yes.
Like visually stunning. I would recommend checking this out if you can sit through it, if you can stomach it. See it in IMAX 3D. This was on par with my first impression of Doctor Strange.
Wow.
Such beautiful visuals, man.
That is high praise.
Yeah.
I'd compare it to that Christopher Nolan space one.
Inception?
Not Inception, the space one.
Gravity.
Interstellar.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah.
Because that one I saw in IMAX.
Okay. Yeah. It looks phenomenal.
Great. Yeah.
Good comparison. And I mean, I would recommend you take that first hour with a grain of salt. Hey, maybe you go in for the first 5-10 minutes, get the story, and then maybe you go get popcorn. You know, the lines
Coffee.
Get coffee.
Get
too.
coffee. Definitely get coffee.
Yeah, the lines will have slimmed out a bit. You know, take your time, walk down the aisle, explore the artwork in the theater, and then go back. And then that last hour and a half, hour and 45 minutes of the movie, you will enjoy yourself.
I wouldn't say cut out on anything, but definitely get a coffee, stay alert, and pay attention to everything. And there's a lot there to consume, and gobble it all up. If you like seeing these beautiful vistas and landscapes, I mean, for me,
And some
this,
boobs.
yeah.
I mean,
for me,
this wasn't like
is,
this wasn't Joanna Cassidy, running through the glass, and then in the clear raincoat.
Yes, yes.
But it was enough.
It was, yeah. For me, this movie, it seems like it's going to be at a masterpiece level. I need to stew on it for a bit, but right now I'm thinking masterpiece level. I do have to chew on it. I'm going to chew. Masterpiece, yeah.
He's gonna masticate on this masterpiece.
I am going to masticate all over the place on this masterpiece.
I really hope you know what that means, because
I don't know what that means.
Masticate means to chew, dude.
Ah, that's what I meant.
Okay, so what do you say?
Thumbs up, definitely up.
All right, so 2 thumbs up. On
just like the grandpa with the Viagra.
Why? Okay,
Herb, edit this out in post, man. Wrap this up in post, B.
Okay, so anyone who's still listening, this has been the Geek Down here on WMF.